What's up, guys? Welcome to DIMtv, UFC Fight Night Raleigh, vlog number 2, where we're going to do a little quick impromptu pre-show get down. I will give you my picks, as well as highlight a couple of the fights that I'm personally kind of interested about. Because I know the prelims, not a whole lot of known fighters are on that, so hopefully I can shed some light on some of the fighters that are going to be fighting on the preliminary, aka the Facebook prelims, as we hardcore MMA fans like to call them. Anyways, we're about 2 hours away from UFC Raleigh. Without further ado, let's start. I'm not going to go ahead and list every single prelim fight because there are a lot. What I will do instead is I'll point out the ones that I find interesting to me personally. Talk about them for a few minutes and give you my picks, predictions as to what's going to come on the main card, which I have written out for you right here. Get a little sip of my coffee. How's everybody doing? Anybody in the chat saying anything?
A couple people. MJ.
Good. I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. I'm sipping on my coffee, trying to keep the energy levels up. All right. Lots of unknowns on the prelim card, but I want to talk about the very, very, very first fight that's going to take place. Nate Landwehr. Not exactly sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I think that's right. Nate Landwehr is fighting Herbert Burns, a American versus a Brazilian. It should be an interesting matchup. I believe they're featherweights. Yes, sir. I picked this one in specific because Nate Landwehr, he is making his UFC debut. He is what me and my friend Master Chief like to refer to as a traveling fighter. He has accumulated a lot of experience fighting overseas in Russia for organizations such as ACB, perhaps M1, definitely is on his fighting record. He has done exceptionally well fighting in those overseas organizations and is now coming to UFC. Again, this is his debut fight. Gilbert Burns has fought in the UFC for quite some time. He's what you could call a veteran of the sport. Of course, brings in the grappling jiu-jitsu game to this fight, and it's going to be an interesting one. I see Nate winning this one. He has fought a little bit tougher competition, and he has done better against it, in my opinion, of course. Going to be interested to see how his first UFC fight plays out. Not everybody's debut goes according to plan. This is the big show after all, even though the card might be kind of small. One of the fights I'm looking out for is going to be the very, very first one on the prelims, which start at 5 p.m. Eastern Time here in East Coast. Let's get into the next prelim fight. Sara McMann and Lena Landsberg. This is going to be a bantamweight women's fight with a veteran of the division. What are you giggling at over there? I see you. What did they say? What did they say? Just tell me. Just tell me. I got the chat.
Are you in the chat?
I'm not in the chat. I got the fight card over here pulled up so I can give them a little bit better details. But if y'all being clever over there, if y'all are being clever, it's cool. I don't mind, man. As long as y'all kicking it here with me, I'm kicking it here with you, and I can give you a little bit of information to go home with. Hey, so Sara McMann and Lena Landsberg. Interesting fight. Sara McMann's a veteran of women's division fighting, has fought likes of Kat Zingano, Ronda Rousey, the who's who of fighting. And she's done well. She's got a good record still to this day. She's coming into this fight after a bit of a hiatus. I don't think she's fought for the last year and a half, at least. And that is something that I'm looking at as potentially a factor going into this fight. The ring rust might be there. It might be there. That being said, she's an Olympic competitor. She probably stayed in good shape, and you know what I mean? It's tough to say going into this fight. Clear advantages. Lena's going to have kickboxing and striking on her side. She comes from very strong kickboxing pedigree, having trained there. She's a Sweden native, and she's training with some of the best kickboxers in the game. She's got good arsenal as far as her striking goes. McMann, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Her striking isn't quite as crispy, but she is very, very knowledgeable in the grappling wrestling game. And this is going to be pretty much your classic grappler versus striker matchup. One is going to have a little bit more of a ring rust on it, but she does have more experience having fought tougher competition in her career. My pick is going to be Lena Landsberg. I think the ring rust might play a factor here for Sara McMann. She hasn't been in the game, and even though she's experienced, her disadvantage in the striking game, as well as some of the reflex issues that one may have after having spent some time away from active fighting, might play a factor here in this fight. I would like to move into the next fight, which is one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most. Is going to be Arnold Allen. Originally supposed to have fought Josh Emmett on this fight, but Nick Lentz, who also had a scheduled fight on this card, had his opponent fall out. They matched them up together. It was unfortunate that their opponents, couldn't fight him and had to pull out, especially with the Josh Emmett. I was really looking forward to that one. That was going to be a brawl, because Emmett's a violent dude. So we wish him a speedy recovery, of course. Of course, Arnold Allen remains on this card, and Nick Lentz is his opponent. Kind of a quickly thrown together matchup, but still one to be on the lookout for sure. I like Arnold Allen here. He's just been looking really, really good. 15-1 record. I mean, it speaks for itself. He's kind of, I don't want to say fresh or green, but he hasn't fought any huge names yet. And Emmett was going to be that step up in competition. Nick Lentz isn't quite on the same level as Emmett, but is a good opponent for him nonetheless to showcase his potential, his ability, his skill. A fight that I'm looking forward to, again, as I've said previously. I have Arnold Allen winning this fight here for many different reasons. I think he's just has a lot of potential, and he's going to be a top 10 fighter one day in the UFC. Let's just really briefly look at his opponents. Again, undefeated in UFC. His only loss comes from Cage Warriors back 6 years ago. And since then, he's been on a roll. He's riding a 8-fight win streak currently. And his last two UFC opponents was Gilbert Melendez and Jordan Rinaldi, both of which he beat decisively. So looking forward to Arnold Allen continuing, moving on to perhaps a 9-fight win streak, and see how he can crack the top 10 division. Let's move into the main card real quick, starting with Mahal Hill versus Darko Stosic. Slavic versus American. We got a little bit of international flavor in this card. We got everybody, Brazilians, Americans, Eastern Europeans, UK representatives. I mean, you name it. And even a Russian chick on this card, Justine Kish. Shout outs to her, man. Hopefully she does good. I'll be rooting for her. Mahal Hill is 6-0, undefeated. Kind of a newcomer to the game. I believe he came up in Dana White Contender Series. He's raw. He's got potential. He's got the power, and he's got actually submission skills. Yeah, because I believe he got my man. Excuse me, I don't want to make a mistake and tell you something that is not true. Okay, I take that back. He doesn't have submission wins. I was thinking of another guy. But, again, he's undefeated. I think he's going to remain undefeated. Darko Stosic is promising light heavyweight, but I believe he's coming off of a loss here. And, I don't know. I just have a feel that Mahal Hill is got what it takes to win this fight. Let's go into the next fight. The two North Carolina natives, Hanna Cyphers versus Angela Overkill Hill, they're going to be putting on a show in the second fight of the main card. An interesting fight to break down here. Originally, Hanna Cyphers was supposed to fight Van Buren, who pulled out about 3 weeks before this fight. Fortunately, Angela Hill was there, able to take this fight on late 3 weeks notice, which is, hey, it's good for her. This is her kind of a hometown crowd, and it's going to be interesting to see how who the crowd decides to cheer for here, because both girls are hometown favorites, so to speak. As far as breaking this fight down, I see them very similar skill levels. Both girls are very scrappy. Both of them have similar records, 10 wins apiece, and both have competed in UFC for quite some time, even though Angela Hill has competed in UFC twice. One time coming off of The Ultimate Fighter, where Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate were the coaches. I believe she had some success in that show, but ultimately was cut from the UFC after losing 2 fights, which she didn't let her head hang. She went to Invicta FC, which is kind of a UFC subsidiary, but she did really good there. She put together a 3 or 4 fight win streak. She became an Invicta Women's Champion, and UFC welcomed her back. Again, late minute replacement for somebody, and Angela's always game. I mean, the reason why she accumulated so many losses on her record, I was going to say, is not exactly representative of her skill. She takes a lot of risks, which is ballsy, and I like to give her a lot of credit for it. She takes fights, last minute opponents, always tough girls, never really says no to a fight, and because of her mentality, she was able to A, get the championship in Invicta, B, get her way back into the UFC, and accumulate such a big resume on her short but stacked fighting career, so to speak, having fought previous champions, current champions, just really the best of the best girls. Even though she may have lost most of those matches, I believe that experience still counts for a lot, and it's going to be the factor in this fight for her. I gotta go with my girl Angela Hill with this one. It's going to be a close fight. The crowd's going to probably be split, as both of them again are from North Carolina, and I will be excited to watch that one. That's for sure. Next we got coming up is Jordan Espinosa versus Alex Perez. That's going to be a flyweight matchup. Jordan Espinosa with a 14 win, 6 lose record, and Alex Perez 22 wins and 5 losses. Alex Perez has fought in UFC for a very, very long time, and he's got a lot of wins. His only loss in the last 10 fights, I believe, comes from Joseph Benavidez, who's pretty much has been and currently is at the top of the men's flyweight division. The state of that division, it's a bit weird. We thought we were going to lose it for a minute, but we're still having fights in that division. It hasn't gone away yet, which is a good thing. And these two, just their placement on the card shows both are at a high skill set, both are experienced fighters, and both can deliver fight of the night material for us. I'm split a bit 50-50 on this one, but I'm going to go towards Perez. I think his experience here is what's going to be the winning factor for him in this bout. Let's get to the co-main event of the evening. Rafael Dos Anjos versus Michael Chiesa. Where do I start with this one, man? RDA, former champion, a guy who has fought in multiple weight classes, a storied veteran of the sport at this point, and currently one of the best Brazilian fighters in the UFC. My praises of RDA are just, I do have criticisms, though. He is not the most consistent fighter. And to me, that has me worried going into this fight. He has shown incredible durability, persistence, willingness to win the fight. But sometimes, and in more so in the welterweight division, he has gotten outsized by guys. He's not really able to push the pace the same way he did with the lightweight in such a fashion when we saw him taking the title away from Anthony Pettis. He can't really impose his will as much in the welterweight division. He's still very skilled. He's got the strikes down. He knows his grappling. But what's got them thinking is Chiesa's a big boy. And even though he too fought in the lightweight division for a while, both of these guys, by the way, killed themselves to make lightweight and have probably gained more out of going to welterweight because they can fight more. This is more true for Chiesa. They're fighting more in their natural weight class. And I think this is going to be the playing factor in this fight. Chiesa fills out at welterweight a little bit better. He's going to be at a disadvantage striking-wise, but he's very lanky. Again, he's very big. And if he gets a hold of RDA and wears his ass out, I think Chiesa has a good chance of winning this fight. It's going to be a close one. I have to pick a winner. I like Chiesa. This is a little bit of a fan speaking here. I would like to see him get this W. And, yeah, good luck to both guys. This is going to be a banger of a co-main event, and I'm looking forward to this fight. Let's get to the main event, guys. Let's get to the main event. How y'all feeling so far about my predictions? Any controversial comments, baby?
Not too many.
Not too many.
Just more personal comments.
It's no problem. I'm used to it. It is 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are 1 hour and 30 minutes away from the first preliminary fight. We were talking about the main event and how I think this is going to go down. Curtis Blades, sitting at 12-2 record currently, is taking on Junior Dos Santos, the guy we all know, and love. Who's one of the nicest guys in all of MMA, really. How can you hate Junior Dos Santos, right? Rocking the 21-6 record. Both guys are a force to be reckoned with in the UFC heavyweight division. As I've spoken about this, you have young, fresh, I wouldn't want to say a newcomer. He's fought in UFC maybe about 2 years at this point. I would say the newer generation of the heavyweights is taking on the grizzled veteran, Golden Gloves boxer, legendary Junior Dos Santos. How does this fight break down? Man, I want to first get the obvious out of the way. You have a wrestler and a boxer. Golden Gloves, I mean, almost Olympic level. JDS has had a storied career of knocking fools out. Some of the best fighters to fight in the heavyweight division have felt the power of his hands and went night-night. With that said, Junior still got that power. When it comes to heavyweights, that is the last thing that they will lose. You might start to lose a little bit of speed. You might, if you get hit a lot, that chin might go. Power, that's going to stay there. That's going to help Junior, because Curtis is going to have to be on his P's and Q's. And not get hit with that big one. Junior also got kicks, man. Just because I say, hey, look, he's predominantly a Golden Gloves boxer, it doesn't mean he's not well-rounded. He knows his jiu-jitsu. He doesn't use it very often, but he uses it very well and defensively. Junior has a tendency to make most of his fights stand-up fights, even though he might be fighting people that might knock him the fuck out. He's a warrior. He's got a ton of heart. That's the reason we all love him. Curtis Blades might be that guy, man. Despite losing to Francis Ngannou, I still think he's top 5 UFC heavyweight currently. He has got a ton of potential. He has violent knockout power, ability to drag his opponent down to the floor, impose his will, and end the fight quickly and again violently by throwing elbows, hammer fists, and just demolishing his opponent. This is the classic kind of a ground and pound, wrestle you down approach. He is very active with the ground and pound, and that, in my eyes, makes him a very exciting fighter. He's younger than Junior. Again, he might have more chin. If they were to hit each other at the same time, same power, I don't know if Junior could recover faster than Curtis Blades. It's tough for me to say because you guys know how heavyweights break down. One solid punch connects, it's likely going to be it for the other guy. But I got to go with the future here, and it kind of breaks my heart because Junior is one of my favorite heavyweight fighters. I've loved this guy fighting ever since he took the title from Cain Velasquez back 9 years ago. And yeah, I just think if he was to get hit, he wouldn't take that well. But if Curtis Blades was to get hit, he would take it a little bit better and he would come through faster. Final call on this fight. Curtis Blades wins the fight by TKO, first or second round. Either way, that fight at the top of the bill is not going the distance. And that is why I'm excited, at least about the main event. Should be a promising fight night. I'm excited as hell. We are about to go down there, peep out the scene, see what the PNC Arena is looking like currently. Guys, again, thank you for joining us. Stay locked. There's going to be a couple of more vlogs coming to you live from PNC Arena, UFC Fight Night, Raleigh, going down in just a few short moments. DIMtv, in the place to be. We're out, man. Peace.